Yeah, about a tractor.
I had a bad ski accident first weekend of February. I
Jack.
waited till golf season was over.
Oh,
Call to order. First and foremost, could we have roll call for the commission members? Or should I have Monday, October 17th, 2022? Something along those
Meeting
lines.
of the planning is another.
Okay, a meeting for the Planning and Zoning Commission is called to order.
So do we have Brandon Bemis,
Here.
Alan Davis, absent, Keith Gibson,
here.
Commissioner Howard,
Here.
Commissioner Prickett,
Here.
and I don't believe Commissioner Taylor is available yet.
But we have 4, so that meets the quorum.
Yes, we have a quorum, so. We're good to go.
Okay. Keith, would you start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We didn't have Alan here today to throw us off with his cadence. Are there any additions or corrections to the current the current agenda? Nothing? Are there any conflicts of interest amongst the commissioners with anything that we are going to be going over?
There's not.
No, but for the record, I do want to make a clarification that Richard Bingham and I are really good friends, but I'm perfectly capable of making a decision in what's best for the city over my friend. So,
Okay. And it's important, you know, what's up for the city is more important than your friendship, by the way. So next up on our list is consent calendar, approval of regular minutes from September 26th. Anybody willing to
I'll make a
pass a
motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented from September 27th, 2022.
second.
Okay. Do we all just say yay?
Yay.
Yeah?
Yay.
Yay.
Perfect. Okay, next up is the public hearing on the action item of PZE-22-0125, the Bingham Zone Map Amendment Request. Donna?
Good evening. Tonight, we're here to hear the Bingham Zone Map Amendment Request. It's PZE 220125. Just some background about the project. Again, you know, in May of 2021, we looked at the citywide zone map amendment. We sent out letters to folks who had properties that were of a different zone than what showed up on the future land use map. This is one of those properties. We had a meeting with the owners in July of 2021 to look at options on how to redevelop their piece of property. And we had a follow-up meeting and then that stalled, the zone map amendment stalled. We kind of went back to the drawing board. This property is zoned single-family residential, so as part of this citywide zone map amendment to residential, from residential multifamily to various other zones, this property was not one of those that were changed as part of that zone map amendment update. So we had another pre-development meeting in August of this last August of 2022. And then in September, we received an application for a zone map amendment from single-family residential R1 to mixed residential with the intent to construct a duplex. Again, just as a recap, previous to April of 2021, duplexes were an allowed use by conditional use permit in the R1 zone, and today they are not. So the development team is Elizabeth Hill. She's the applicant, and the owners are the Binghams, Debbie and Richard, and they're all here tonight to present. Their piece of property, just for geographic purposes, is on Hayden Avenue. This is the Avondale Irrigation District site, and this is the church building, used to be the Hayden Elementary School. And this is Melrose, that is a public street back to a cul-de-sac. And their property is down here on the northeast corner of Hayden and Melrose.
Which is just west of the funeral home.
That's correct. 3 houses down or 4 houses down from that, correct. And before I go into my analysis, I'm going to turn it over to the Binghams to present, and I'm going to leave up the aerial. In your books, in your binders, are the standards of approval that they'll be talking to, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
For the record, would you please introduce yourself and give us your address, please?
Yes. My name is Richard Bingham. Our residence address is 243 East Hayden Avenue, which is one property to the east of this location, which is addressed at 235 East Hayden Avenue.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Time to spend with you folks to give a brief overview of what we'd like to do here. With regards to the property, it's currently a single-family residence. It's not occupied. We use it as storage for our business. I own a construction firm, and our desire is to take this property and turn it into a duplex. As all of us are very well aware of, housing costs in the greater Coeur d'Alene Hayden area are rather exorbitant right now. And we have children that are moving back to the area, and it's difficult for young folks of a certain age to afford to purchase homes in the area. And so we would like to utilize this property as in part a home for one of our children and rent the other part out to help defray the cost of construction and use of the property. The property is a bit of an eyesore right now just because of its current state. We're unwilling and don't have the desire to put money into it if we're tearing it down. So that is a brief recap of what we'd like to do with the property. As it was mentioned, it will be a duplex, side-by-side duplex, with entrances to the north and south of the duplex. In our pre-development meeting this last August, we requested some concessions from the city, and a couple of those concessions were approved. One of those being the location of the driveway to the south side of the property, closest to Hayden Avenue. It enables us to fully develop the property to its maximum potential and fit the size of structure on that we'd hope to fit on the property. I don't really know what else you'd like to know about the project and what I can fill you in on, but please ask questions and I'll be sure to answer what I can.
You guys have any questions?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just was wondering, is that, because I didn't cue into it when I read the packet here. So you want your entrance to be off of Hayden Avenue or off of
Melrose.
the ancillary street?
Off of Melrose.
Perfect.
The address would be changed from 235 East Hayden, and access to the property, which is currently off of Hayden Avenue, would be removed, and all access would be off Melrose.
Okay.
Yeah. So can I ask a clarifying question or ask you later?
Go ahead.
So aren't there duplexes on Melrose currently?
There are.
And so if the address is changed, wouldn't it be appropriate to change the zoning on this anyway? To allow that or not really?
I don't know that the two are connected.
And there's duplexes right down the street on Hayden too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Podium.
Actually, would you step up to the podium and speak and introduce yourself as well?
My name is Elizabeth Hill.
She's my
and-
daughter.
Yes, and I work with him. But on Melrose, there are several duplexes and multifamily units. However, the zone for those properties is still single-family residence. I believe they're grandfathered in, but the official zoning of those duplexes is single-family. So I don't know that changing the address to Melrose would affect that zoning because of that.
Were those, when she's saying grandfathered in, were those ones that already had conditional permits for them at that time?
They
Or
were
that was before all this?
Built, when they were built, they were part of, and they were allowed in the zone when they were built. And so they're considered non-conforming uses in that zone today.
Got it.
What were the rules again for this property when the process was started compared to today? Did you say that the rules changed?
In April of 2021, when we adopted the new zoning code, duplexes as a conditional use permit were removed as an allowed use in the single-family residential zone. And so they are no longer, a duplex is no longer allowed into this zone.
And they
So the
started
only
their
way
process
to do-
before that, though?
They have not,
Oh.
because they were kind of working through our quirky zone map amendments.
Gotcha.
But this is soon to be part of the mixed residential.
If the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval tonight, and if the City Council approves that zone map amendment. So tonight, we're not looking at the duplex or construction or how that's being constructed.
Right.
He's just giving you the why he's asking for the zone map amendment, and then you need to
Yeah.
take that into consideration in your findings.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to summarize the staff review that you guys will have. So the commission shall consider the existing zoning districts, the regulations, and you can recommend approval, modification, or denial of the proposal, and you might ask for some additional studies and plans. And so the 2040 comprehensive plan shows this property as mixed residential, and as such, all of the imagined Hayden plans model the densities based on this land use designation of mixed residential. And therefore, staff did not determine that additional studies or plans were required. The staff or the city council could impose conditions on the rezoning where we believe that those conditions are required in order to meet the community's needs and public health, safety, and general welfare. And so the applicant's narrative kind of broke up what they believe is happening here. So this is in line with the City of Hayden's plans for future land use, which also proposed changing this parcel from R1 to mixed residential. Further, this proposed change is highly compatible with the surrounding area, as there are currently 5 duplexes and a 4-plex on this same road. All necessary public facilities are available to support the proposed duplex that will be built on this property, and the agency comments that were received pretty much align with that determination. And currently, 235, as Mr. Bingham noted, is a single-family home, but it's got disrepair and it's uninhabitable. The approval of this zone change will allow for the removal of this unusable and unsightly structure and the construction of a new and attractive duplex that will help address the housing deficit currently faced by the city. Again, those are all comments from the applicant's narrative. Therefore, staff didn't really see that conditions were required for this particular request. So amendment to the zoning map and zone text shall be in accordance with the future land use map and the goals and policies found in the Hayden Comprehensive Plan. So this is a snippet of the future land use map. And as you can see, this property does land in a sea of what would become mixed residential should those lots come in and request zone map amendments. That's what the future land use map shows as kind of the buffering zone between the proposed mixed use on the east side of Government Way and the single-family residential to the east. So the mixed residential, according to the comprehensive plan, is a definition that says that it can accommodate a range of residential structures, including single-family, two-family, and three-family units, as well as accessory dwelling units. And it's important to note that in the land use section of Chapter 4 in the comprehensive plan, it identifies that land use regulations will be applied in ways that respect public needs. They minimize conflicts with nearby land uses, and they protect the private property rights of the landowners. So the goals are in your staff review, and they're listed in their entirety, and I tried to get them into pretty much one-line blurbs in this summary. So the gist is the goals talk about that mixture of land uses, densities, and housing types to promote greater choices and opportunities. We want to encourage the development of land within the city limits before we annex property. We want to preserve and protect and strengthen the vitality and stability of existing neighborhoods. We want to ensure that all development can be serviced by existing public facilities. We want to have that balance between jobs and housing. We want to ensure that ordinance and policies do not violate private property rights, adversely impact property values, or create unnecessary limitations on land use. We want to promote and encourage the development and rehabilitation of quality housing through a variety of housing options and densities. Commissioner Howard is writing.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. So the policies are kind of an outreach of the goals, the council's intent. So development should be compatible with the land use chapter of the comprehensive plan, and it should be fiscally responsible. And we should encourage rezoning to support the creation of strategic nodes, higher density development, and transition zones. And the policy says between residential and industrial zones or industrial uses. I think the same could be true in any transition zones. So then standard number 4 talks about amending the zoning map and how it shall align with the zone district's purpose and intent. So today it's single-family residential, and that single-family residential zone provides for the classic Hayden neighborhood where single-family homes are on smaller lots. Accessory dwelling units are permitted, but two-family dwellings are not. And mixed residential provides for a range of residential structures, including single-family, two-family, and three-family dwelling units, as well as accessory dwelling units on individual lots. So this is how it looks today. It is surrounded by, as a zone, it is surrounded by single-family residential, and it's in a built environment. I did want to talk about the neighbors just briefly. So we talked about the fact that this is a school, Avondale Irrigation District, single-family home, single-family home, single-family home. This is a duplex, 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 fourplex, and these two are duplexes with kind of a shared, entranceway. This is a single-family residence, single-family, and single-family. Kind of that mixture of single-family duplexes, and then that fourplex, which is an oddball, period. So the city of Hayden provided a sewer will serve letter. Avondale Irrigation District provided comments related to construction, has no problem with the zone map amendment request. Dry utilities are already in for the most part, and if they aren't, they're going to be underground as part of any future development that's required of all site development and all subdivisions. And although this is a demolition of the existing house and a new construction, that new construction is what facilitates that requirement. And then dedications of right-of-way and grants of that stormwater, snow storage, utility easement on both Hayden Avenue and Melrose are a condition of future building permit as required by Hayden City Code. So public agencies and public comments. The Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board had no comments. Avondale Irrigation District just identified the fact that they have an 8-inch water main along the southern boundary, but they had no issues with the zone map amendment request. The Coeur d'Alene Airport had no comments, but requested an abrogation easement, which would be a condition of a future building permit. Kootenai Electric had no comments. Idaho Department of Environmental Quality had no environmental impacts identified. And it's important to note that we have had no public comments. I've been gone from vacation. I checked with all of my staff. We've had nobody call in. We've had no emails, no comments. So the standards of approval, we've addressed those. I can leave those up if there's, are you coming to testify? Just hanging out, okay. So I'm not sure who's gonna talk to those. Not sure if anybody's online either. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission may recommend to City Council to approve with conditions, or deny the zone map amendment request. You have questions for me? No?
Thank you, Donna.
Okay, which slide do you want me to leave up?
That works.
Well, Ben, what do you think?
Seems fairly easy, given that's left in the future land use map.
Keith?
Same. It's going to be mixed use residential anyway, so.
Get your rebut, by the way.
Oh,
You go
my
into
goodness,
deliberations.
yes, I'm sorry, you have an
Don't start
opportunity.
deliberations yet.
Yeah, you guys have an opportunity to come back up and speak again on behalf if you have anything else that hasn't been said yet. Okay, sorry, I jumped the gun. This is my. So, back to deliberations.
And then you need to close the public hearing, right, in order to go to deliberations?
Just by saying,
That closes the public.
oh, so at this point, what I say, is there anybody to talk about
Online?
online neutral for or against? Okay. Is there anybody online right now at all?
I think so.
Is there anybody in the audience that has any reason to speak against this at this time? Anybody neutral for this at this time? Or anybody that's for it that hasn't already spoken? So at this point, now I can close the public testimony or public hearing.
Is there deferring their rebuttal? Yep,
Mhm.
yep.
Okay,
And now you can deliberate.
now we can deliberate. And would you like to speak again?
Nothing's changed the last 2 minutes. So,
Same with you, Keith.
Yeah.
Mary, do you have anything?
I think it's important to look at the standards of approval and see that this project is a good project. I think that rezoning now makes sense because it is in that future land use to do that. I think it's a good to have that transitional. I think it represents a good transitional transition in that there already is 1 and 2 and a Corky off the books 4, but it fits exactly what we as a city want to see there, is that transition, that buffer between the mixed use and the single family. And I appreciate that you already have plans to remove access to Hayden, because I think that's important as we increase density along Hayden, that we don't increase access and create problems before there are problems. So I think that's a great plan. So I like this project. I would feel comfortable with it.
I'm gonna follow in the same line with all the other commissioners here. Also the fact that on, where was it? When we're talking about community needs and public health and safety, when we're talking about the building being something that is somewhat of an eyesore, sitting there uninhabitable, moving in the right direction of improving the land, whether it's a duplex or a single-family home, it's still improvement. And it does fall under the future land use map. So I agree with all three of you so far. Is there a motion from any one of you?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. In the matter of PZE 220125 Bingham Zone Map Amendment Request, I motion that we approve the requests.
Did we say that right?
Recommend approval.
Recommend approval to the city council
That's it.
to make the real decision that us underlings are incapable of.
I'll second that.
Is there any, or now do we just say let's call votes? Is that correct?
Any other discussion?
Any more discussion? It seems pretty straightforward. Call the vote, please.
Commissioner Bemis,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Prickett.
Yes. So recommendation has been approved. What? Any reports for us?
So I haven't really been at my desk. I can say that we
How was
have,
vacation?
it was great.
Yes.
Great. After I once got to the coast, it was great. So got to drive through a forest fire. That was fun. I don't really like flames and fire, so that was, but anyway, there's a forest fire on Highway 2. They've had Highway 2 from Everett, Monroe to
Like the ski resort?
Leavenworth,
Oh, yeah.
closed off and on, but pretty much closed for the last 3 weeks. And I really didn't realize that. I knew that the fire was north, but I didn't realize it was that close. But yeah, we followed the fire truck and my mom's watching the flames. I'm like, oh, way too close for comfort for me anyway. And they closed it the next day. So it's just, yeah. Anyway, had a blast at the ocean. So
Good.
recommend it to anybody that needs a refresher. Yeah, it's good. We do have a public hearing coming up. I don't know if it's the first meeting or the second meeting in November. I think it's the first one. We have 2 public hearings for that one coming up. So,
That would
What's
be
the date on the first one?
the 7th?
yes.
Okay.
And then I did send out a memo to the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council regarding standards of approval. I haven't gotten direction if we're still going to do a joint workshop to cover that information, but I'll keep you posted. City Council is next week.
That's the one that you emailed out today, that one.
No.
Well, I don't know when I emailed it out. A couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, anything else pressing for anybody?
Awesome.
Meeting adjourned?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
What's the date of this?